We'll begin at the top of our mat. Deep inhale, hands up above head, bringing your hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Bringing your hands out in front of you, taking the right arm back behind you, gazing over those right fingertips, or closing your eyes. Bringing your hands back to center and then taking your left hand back behind you for a nice twist. Gaze over those left fingertips. Deep breaths here. Bringing them back to center. Then we're going to bring the hands up into a steeple grip above your head, leaning over to the right for a nice side stretch. Deep breaths here. Nice side bend, bringing it back to center, resetting, and then moving over towards the left for a nice side stretch. Deep breaths. Bringing it back to center. Hands towards your lower back for a nice gentle back bend, creating support for that low back. Deep breaths into your chest and belly. Go ahead and make your way back to center. Hands up above head, mountain pose. Swan diving forward into a nice forward fold. Let your head hang heavy. Deep breaths. Grab either elbow and sway side to side for ragdoll pose. Nice and gentle. Pedaling out those feet in your forward bend. Taking a nice deeper stretch here. Halfway lift, flat back, forward fold. Hand to the top of the mat, sitting down deep into chair pose, Utkatasana. Make sure your knees are behind your big toes and that you can see your big toes. Hands to heart center. We're going to take a gentle twist, bringing that right elbow on the outer edge of your left knee. And if you'd like to expand your arms long, go ahead and do so here. Nice deep breaths, bringing it back to center. Moving to the other side. Left elbow on the outer edge of your right knee. And if you opened on the left side, go ahead and open on this side as well. Nice deep breaths, bringing it back to center. Forward fold, shake it out. Nice deep bend here, interlacing those fingers behind your head to let the head hang heavy. Really release all that tension in the upper neck and shoulders. Let your head get really heavy here. Go ahead and release. Halfway lift, flat back. Forward fold once more, making our way into high plank. Nice deep breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Dropping it down to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Look towards the sky or your ceiling, and nice deep breaths here. Turn your head to the left for a nice neck stretch. Bringing it back to center and then towards the right. Back to center, pushing it back into our first downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out those feet if need be. Really get into this pose. Shoulders away from ears. Feet hips distance. Go ahead and nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Settle into this downward facing dog, and we'll take a few deep breaths here. Bending at the knees, making our way to a flat tabletop position into cat and cow. Dropping the chin, tucking the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Make your way through cat and cow for a few rounds here, moving at your own pace and breath to movement. Few more rounds of cat-cow here, syncing your breath to each movement. Maybe taking different variations, whatever your body is calling you to do in this moment. Go ahead and extend that left arm long, right leg back, bringing that elbow to knee, creating a connection. 2, for 3, for 4, not forgetting to breathe, 5, 6, 7, 8, and release. Making our way to the other side, right arm long, left leg back, creating that elbow to knee connection for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And release, moving our way into one more round of cat and cow. Go ahead and spread your knees on the outer edges of the mat. Extend your arms out long for child's pose. Resting your forehead gently on the mat. Deep breaths in your abdomen. Toes to touch. If you'd like a more active pose, you can go ahead and extend your arms far out in front of you to where your elbows are not touching the mat, creating a more active pose. We're going to go ahead and extend our right hand high, threading the needle underneath our left arm. And if you'd like to take a bind, taking that left hand, wrapping around your waist, grabbing your right inner thigh. Nice deep breaths here. Go ahead and release that left hand, extending that right hand up above, resetting back into our child's pose before we move on to the opposite side, extending that left hand high, threading the needle underneath our right arm. And if you took a bind on the first side, go ahead and do so again. Remembering to breathe. Remind yourself of the intention that you set when you first started this practice. And if you did not set an intention, think of something that you are grateful for today, here and now. Releasing that right hand up above, extending the left hand high once more and resetting back into child's pose. Bring your hands to a prayer position, bringing those thumbs back behind your head, resting gently on your neck. And then release back to the mat. Gently rise up, making your way back into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Rotating your head counterclockwise and clockwise, creating some movement in the neck. Extending the right leg long, bending at the knee, rotating your knee in either direction, opening up that hip, And if you'd like to flip your dog, you can go ahead and do so here. Otherwise, keep rotating the knee, maybe switch directions. If you flipped your dog, breathe deeply in this pose, extending the right arm long behind you. Go ahead and flip your dog back to center, bringing that right leg between your hands, coming into a low lunge, dropping that back left knee, moving gently back and forth, just opening up the hip, creating space in the hip here, bending at the knee, extending the leg long. Go ahead and heel toe your right foot to the outer edge of the mat, making our way into runner's lunge. You can go ahead and stay lifted here or make your way to your forearms. If that feels safe and comfortable to you, go ahead and drop your head heavy and breathe into this pose. Gently rising up. Go ahead and take your right hand, gently pushing your right knee outwards. If it's in your practice, go ahead and extend your left foot up, grabbing that with your right hand for a nice twist. Making sure you're not moving your hips back to reach that foot. Go ahead and release, coming in into half splits, extending that right leg long, trying to create this head to knee connection. If splits is in your practice, go ahead and do so now. Nice deep breaths here. Making your way up into a crescent lunge. Go ahead and extend those arms up high. Nice deep breath here. Hands to heart center. Bringing those hands out in front of you in a nice twist towards the right. Remaining strong and balanced here. Gaze over those right fingertips. Bringing your hands back to center. Go ahead and bring your hands towards the mat, and we'll move through our flow. Nice inhale on the high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Nice deep breath here. Exhale, downward facing dog. A few rounds of breath here. Go ahead and extend that left leg long, bending at the knee, rotating the knee in either direction, creating space in the hip. If you flipped your dog on the first side, go ahead and flip your dog on this side as well, extending that left arm out and long, breathing into the pose, surrendering to the difficulty. Adjusting back into our one-legged downward facing dog, stepping that left foot in between the hands, coming into a low lunge, shifting our weight forward and back to open up the hips a bit further. Bending at the knee, straightening the leg. Heel toeing our left foot to the outer edge of the mat for runner's lunge on the left side. And if you made your way to your forearms on the right side, go ahead and do that here as well, creating balance for each posture. Letting the head hang heavy and breathing into that left inner hip. Gently releasing, gently pressing your left knee out away from you with your left hand. And if it's in your practice, go ahead and bend the right knee, reaching back with your left hand, making the connection to that right foot, opening up the shoulders and the chest. Nice deep breaths here. Gently releasing both hands to the mat, making our way back into half splits here, trying to create that forehead to knee connection on the left side. If you attempted full splits on the right side, go ahead and attempt that here, if that's in your practice. Otherwise, a nice deep breaths here. Slowly rising out of your half splits, making your way up into crescent lunge. Hands rise up, reach up. Nice deep breath. Maybe sink a little bit deeper into your crescent lunge here. Bring your hands to heart center. Nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, hands extend long out in front of you. Left hand reaches back, look back over those left fingertips for a nice gentle twist. Twists are extremely good for your digestion, for detoxing, and also for good spinal rotation. So it's always good to keep them in your practice. Bringing that left hand back to the center to meet the right. Hands go ahead and release to the front edge of your mat, stepping back into high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Notice how your body feels in this position compared to the first downward facing dog we took in our practice. Go ahead and walk your way up to the front edge of the mat and take both of your hands, placing them gently under the feet for gorilla pose. You can go ahead and lean on the heels of your feet to give your hands a nice gentle massage, especially if you work at a desk all day or use your hands quite frequently. This could feel very, very good on the hands, the fingers, and the wrists. Go ahead and release each hand underneath the feet, gently rotating at the wrists. Go ahead and halfway lift, flat back, and release. Rise up, reach up, mountain pose. Hands to heart center. We'll make our way into our balancing series, bringing the weight into the left foot and bringing that right foot into the inner edge of your thigh for tree pose. Imagine grounding down through the left foot into the earth, establishing your roots. And if you'd like to grow your tree, you can go ahead and do so here. An even more advanced position would be closing your eyes for a balance challenge. Nice deep breaths here. Hands back to heart center. Before releasing your right foot to the mat, go ahead and grab that with your right hand, kicking back into the right hand, extending long into the left hand for dancer's pose. Breathing into this position. Slowly, gently coming out, releasing the right foot, shaking out that left leg, stepping on to the right foot, creating balance here, bringing the left foot to the inner edge of the right thigh, hands to heart center, grounding down for tree pose on the right side. If you went ahead and grew your tree on the first side, go ahead and grow your tree here. Really visualizing your right foot establishing roots deep into the earth, grounding you, bringing your hands back together, and back down to heart center. Gently releasing your left foot, but not bringing it to the mat. Grabbing your left inner foot with your left hand, kicking into that left hand, and extending your right arm long for dancer's pose. Nice deep breaths in these balancing poses. Gently releasing and coming out of dancer's pose. Hands to heart center, shaking out that right leg. Bringing blood back into those legs. Extend your feet out to the outer edges of the mat, sitting down deep into frog pose or malasana. Your toes will be extended out, heels towards each other. Hands to heart center. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and extend your left hand on the outer edge of your mat and bring your right hand up high for another nice, gentle twist. Again, these are great for digestion and detoxification. So we love to include lots of them in our practice. Slowly making our way back to center before we make our way to the next side. Extending the right arm out on the outer edge of the mat. Left hand high, looking up to the sky or the ceiling, wherever you may be in your practice today. Opening up that chest, those shoulders, and having a gentle twist in the abdomen. Slowly coming back to center. If crow is in your practice, go ahead and make your way. If you'd like to attempt crow, go ahead and have your hands shoulder width apart, bringing your knees up about 2 inches above the elbow. Look 2 feet in front of you and gently lift 1 foot at a time. Holding here. The farther away you look, the less likely you are to fall on your face. Coming back up into a nice gentle forward fold, shaking out those knees. Nice deep breath here. Grabbing those big toes with your pointer finger and your middle finger. Bending at the elbows. If you work at a desk, these forward folds are great for upper back tension, shoulder tension. Go ahead and nod your head yes, shake your head no. Gently come up for a halfway lift. Fold back down into a forward fold. Rise up, reach up, mountain pose, Tadasana. Making our way into our second balancing series, bring your hands to heart center. Hinge at the hips. Place your hands at the top edge of your mat. We're going to make our way into standing splits. So go ahead and bring that right leg up as high as you can, straightening out the knee and trying to make again that forehead to knee connection with your left knee. Place your left hand right in front of you. We'll make our way into half moon. When you're ready, go ahead and extend your right arm up high towards the sky, lifting that right leg a few inches further, coming back to center. Release that right leg, slowly rising up, making our way into eagle pose. Right leg wraps around the left, right arm wraps underneath and around the left arm. If you'd like to have an elbow to knee connection, go ahead and drop down and do so. Nice deep breaths here. Concentrating on one object in your environment that is stationary. Releasing gently out of the pose, shaking out the legs, shaking out the arms before we make our way onto the other side. Placing our hands out in front of us for standing splits on the other side. Bringing that left leg up high, straightening out the leg as much as possible, trying to create that forehead to knee connection. Releasing your right arm down out in front of you, extending your left arm up for half moon. Slowly coming out, releasing that left leg down, rising up slowly, shaking it out, making our way into eagle. Left leg wraps around the right, left arm wraps underneath the right arm. If you made an elbow to knee connection on the first side, go ahead and do so here. Again, concentrating on that immovable object. Slowly releasing out of eagle pose, shaking everything out. Rise up, reach up, mountain pose, Tadasana. Hands to heart center. Again, rise up, reach up, mountain pose one more time. Hands to heart center. Last time, rise up, reach up. Nice deep breath here, and then swan dive down into a nice forward fold. Halfway lift, straight back. Forward fold into our high plank. Deep inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice deep breaths here. Extending that left leg long, bending at the knee, twisting at the ankle, bringing it through to meet your hands. Rise up, reach up into warrior two, bending that front knee. Few deep breaths here. Opening up into warrior two. Gaze out in front of those left fingertips. Nice deep breaths here. Dropping that right hand back, reversing your warrior. Left hand goes up and behind you. Extend forward, making your way into hot triangle, releasing that left hand to the ground. Right hand extends long and high. Nice deep breaths here. If you'd like to take a bind and grab your fingertips underneath that left thigh, go ahead and do so here. Releasing. Hands on either side of your foot. Making your way through your flow, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Nice deep breaths here before we move through our flow on the other side. Extending the right leg long, twisting that foot and ankle. Bringing it through between our hands, rising up into warrior one. Again, 3 breaths at each pose. Opening up into warrior two. Making sure that right knee is directly over the right ankle. And you can still see your toes. Maybe you need to sink a bit deeper. There you go. Reversing your warrior. Left hand to left thigh. Right arm reaches up and back. Extending forward for hot triangle. Releasing that right arm down to the ground, left arm high. And if you took a bind on the first side, go ahead and balance it out on this side as well. Releasing both hands to the mat on either side of your foot, making your way through your flow. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Check in here with your body, see how you feel. Go ahead and drop to your knees for puppy pose, releasing the forehead to the mat, keeping the chest and abdomen above the mat. Nice deep breaths here. Slowly rising up onto your knees, taking a more passive child's pose, hugging yourself, trying to grab those feet behind you. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today and partaking in this 45-minute yoga flow. So good for your body. Lots of twists, lots of balancing postures, and lots of flexibility. Pairing all of that with breath to movement, we are really focusing on the present moment, going deeper into ourselves in our yoga practice. Gently come out of your child's pose, and we're going to make our way into camel's pose, which is a massive heart opener. Go ahead and place your hands at your lower back for added support. And when you're ready, take a gentle back bend, trying to grab for each elbow and letting your heart open physically and metaphorically. This pose can bring up lots of emotions, unresolved feelings, and it could oftentimes be very difficult to remain in, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. So we'll gently rise out of that and counteract this pose with a nice, gentle child's pose once more. Take a few deep breaths here, settling back in, finding your breath. Camel pose is a great teacher. It kind of identifies any heartbreak that you may have, any unresolved feelings that you are going through, but it's also a great opportunity for healing. So definitely include this in your practice more often. Make our way into hero's pose, spreading the heels out wide, keeping your knees together, and if you can make your way to your forearms and extend your head back, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, you could remain seated on your bum without doing any type of back bend. And then slowly rise up, make your way into a nice seated position. Cross-legged or butterfly is fine here. We're going to do a few neck stretches, taking that left hand, grabbing the right ear, gently pulling towards the left. Nice deep breaths as we stretch out the neck. Gently release, bringing it back to center. Deep breath in, grabbing the left ear with the right hand. Gentle stretch to the right. Nice deep breaths here. Releasing here. Go ahead and look down and then release back. We're going to take a few rounds of down and back. Basically nodding your head yes in the extreme opposite directions. Chin to chest. Back of your head towards the back of your neck. Then we're going to go ahead and clockwise rotation. Three times. And then make your way to the counterclockwise direction. 3 times on this side as well. Bring your head back to center. Extend your legs out long, coming into a seated forward fold, dropping your forehead towards your knees. Nice deep breaths here. There really are so many benefits to deep breathing, including decreased stress, stimulating the lymphatic system, improving immunity, increasing energy, lowering blood pressure, improving digestion, and so much more. So don't forget to breathe deeply. And then go ahead and take that right leg, placing the right foot on the outer edge of the left knee, taking the left elbow on the outer edge of the right knee, and twisting here. Go ahead and gently release, making your way to the opposite side. Left foot over the right leg, right elbow on the outer edge of the left knee, and creating that gentle twist, looking back over your left shoulder. Breathing into the twist, which helps release any toxins. And then releasing here, coming up to the front edge of the mat and slowly making our way onto our backs, vertebrae by vertebrae. Go ahead and bring both of your knees in, planting your feet firmly on the ground. We'll rise up for bridge pose, holding here. And then go ahead and extend your right leg long for 3, 2, and 1. Release. And then go ahead and extend your left leg long for 3, 2, 1, and release. Go ahead and drop slowly. Hug your knees into your chest, massaging out your lower back, rocking side to side, giving yourself a nice big squeeze, thanking yourself for making your way to your mat today to enjoy this practice. Go ahead and release the right leg long, keeping that left knee bent, interlacing your fingers, pulling your left knee towards your chest. You can go ahead and kind of create movement here. Then take your left foot, create the figure 4 on your right thigh, grabbing behind the right thigh. This is kind of the alternative to pigeon pose if you have lots of tightness in your hips. We're going to stay here for a good chunk of time, so really get comfortable breathing into the pose. If you don't have any problems with your hips, you're more than welcome to make your way into pigeon pose normally. Otherwise, remain here in your figure 4. Breathing into that left hip. And then keeping your legs as is, go ahead and twist them over to the right. Extend your arms out long. Gaze is over your left hand for a nice supine twist. Releasing all of the past, releasing anything that happened during your day, and just surrendering to this moment. Go ahead and release here, and go ahead and grab your right knee towards your chest. Pulling that in, creating a little movement here, opening up the hip. And then creating a figure 4 with the right leg, grabbing behind that left thigh. Taking nice deep breaths here. Twisting over to the left, extending the arms out long and wide, gazes over your right fingertips. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can go ahead and pull that right knee down with your left hand. Making your way back to center, coming into happy baby, grabbing the big toes. Extending one leg out at a time. Try to smile in this pose. It is called happy baby after all, isn't it? Even if it feels silly. It is known that the brain releases tiny molecules called neuropeptides to help fight stress. So go ahead and give yourself a nice big hug and make your way into Shavasana. Take up space here. Really sink into the ground, into the earth. Let your palms face the sky. If you'd like to receive more abundance, more love, more joy, more prosperity, more health and happiness, or you could release your palms to face the ground if you would like to stay more grounded, rooted, creating that foundation, staying connected to the earth, connected to yourself, relaxing at the jaw, letting your breathing get heavy, and really surrendering into the moment, letting yourself reap all of the benefits of your practice today. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes, twisting at the ankles and the wrists. Then bring your hands up above you for a nice full body stretch. Stretching everything out, bringing your knees in. And then making your way to your favorite side for fetal position. Then when you're ready, slowly rise up into your favorite seated position. As we close this practice, nice deep breath. Bringing those hands to heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you for joining with me today. Slowly bring your thumbs up to your third eye. Namaste.